if I wanted to be really, really stressed and really, really anxious, right? And I wanted maybe a bit thrown some depression. If I wanted stress and anxiety, how should I live?
That's a great question. Get on your phone, make sure it's on high brightness, and scroll through every social media platform, every news platform, watch graphic content of videos of horrible, terrible things happening in the world at midnight. Keep doing that off and on until 4, 5 a.m. Your cortisol spike usually happens around 6 a.m., give or take for people. That cortisol spike is a natural thing that happens. It's part of your circadian rhythm. It's what prompts you to get up out of bed. Of course, make sure that you are, you check your phone right away, right when you get up out of bed, and continue scrolling. This is a really fun exercise of what not to do rather than what to do. It doesn't always happen it won't be one day because you do have some reserves. But if you did this for 1 month, I would say, instead of like one day.
I'm going to do it for 1 month.
Yeah, 30 days. 30-day plan to maximize anxiety and stress. No movement whatsoever.
Just stay in bed.
Stay in bed or sit, as sedentary as you can. Skimp on your sleep as much as you can.
Yeah.
In every possible way. Sleep late. Keep waking up throughout the night, and make sure that you get as little sleep as possible for as long as possible. Don't spend time with anyone. Don't stay on your phone day and night, day and night, day and night. No movement. What else?
Do I go outside? I can't go outside.
No, you're just going to sit.
Window?
No, don't even be near natural light.
Okay.
Just sit in a chair if you can. Make sure that you have, if you're on your phone, great. But if you have a TV on, make sure it's on in your bedroom too, on full volume all night long.
That's going to make me stressed?
Yes, it will. Keep it on like a news channel all night long.
Okay.
So, we're joking about this, of course, but what I have experienced in my clinical practice is, we are of a younger generation where we engage on our phones, but many of the older generation, people in their 60s and 70s, many of my patients, in fact, were getting their news from their TV. And I've had so many patients over the years who have told me that they used to just watch TV, that 1 hour of news a day, then it morphed into 2 hours and 3 hours. And I've had patients who sleep with the TV on all night long. And they didn't start off that way, but it just happened that way. Again, talk about, it's not the primal urge to scroll, so to speak, because they're not scrolling on a phone, but it's that night watchman phenomenon. And so they are watching the news all night long. They're not sleeping. They're, really in bad shape. And so moving the TV out of the bedroom is one of the first interventions that I suggest to patients like that.
I'm hungry. What do I do?
Eat at all hours of the day and night. Don't even think about it. The more processed food, the better. Don't even read anything about the Mediterranean diet. No fruits and vegetables.
I wasn't planning reading.
No water. Lots of other beverages besides water. More additives, the better. And no regular meal times. Erratic food, lots of it.
What's that got to do with stress? Erratic meal times?
Well, just because our brains like compartmentalization and structure. And so when you have a sense of structure throughout your day, it helps you plan better. It helps get out of the fight or flight mode and, creates a little bit more of a balance. And that's really the main reason.
What about multitasking? You say in the book, multitasking is a myth. I think that I multitask sometimes.
98%, 100% of people think they are excellent multitaskers, but in fact, the science shows that only 2% of human brains can effectively multitask. Multitasking is a scientific misnomer. There is no such thing. When we multitask, what we are actually doing is task switching, doing 2 different tasks in rapid succession. The opposite of multitasking is monotasking. And the reason we want to monotask is because multitasking, task switching, has been shown to decrease and weaken our prefrontal cortex. It decreases our ability to solve complex problems. It impacts our concentration, mood, engagement, and a whole host of other things. At this time in our lives, in the world and the state of the world as it is, we cannot afford to multitask because the world is filled with complex problems that need to be solved. Instead, monotask. One common question I get when I suggest monotasking is, how am I going to get everything done? I need to multitask. You don't need to multitask. It's a myth. You're actually not multitasking. You're doing task switching, which is detrimental to your brain and your prefrontal cortex. So the antidote to multitasking is monotasking. And the way you do monotasking is time blocking. In fact, I wrote the 5 resets doing time blocking. It's the technique that I use for everything that I work on. I started doing it in medical school because I had to consume vast amounts of information. And how did I do that? So what I would do is, what is time blocking? It's the Pomodoro technique. You may have heard of it. It was developed in the 1980s. Pomodoro means tomato. And an Italian researcher developed this technique and used a tomato-shaped timer, which is why it's called the Pomodoro technique. And it's essentially time blocking. So you set a timer for, say, 30 minutes, or initially when you first start off, 20 minutes, 25 minutes. And then you do whatever task you're doing, one task, and then you take a 5-minute break. Then you come back and you do another 25-minute section of work, the next task, and then you take a 5-minute break, 25-minute, 5-minute break, 25-minute, 5-minute break. So at the end of like an hour, hour and a half, you have completed all of your tasks, but you have been monotasking, not task switching. So you're protecting your prefrontal cortex, strengthening your prefrontal cortex, and not decreasing or making it difficult with attention, memory, concentration, etc. That multitasking
Does multitasking make you more stressed then?
Multitasking makes you more stressed, yes, because it decreases your sense of self-efficacy, because most people aren't good at multitasking. So then at the end, you haven't really completed, you've done a lot of different things, your attention is all over the place, you're on your Slack channel, you're trying to do 5 different tasks at once, you're not doing any of them well. So at the end of that hour and a half, where you could have been monotasking using the time blocking technique, you don't feel that sense of accomplishment or completion. We know that when we feel that sense of accomplishment and completion, we are just feeling less stressed because you have a greater sense of agency, saying like, oh, I can do this. You know, it's like that same feeling of getting out of the back seat, going into the driver's seat. What prompts that? It's like, yes, I have the ability to get out of the back seat and go into the driver's seat. That takes some chutzpah and that takes some agency and self-efficacy.